Hello everybody, hope you're having a wonderful day, and today I would like to share with you guys my final thoughts on the Olotans model T052, TO52, whatever you want to call it. This thing doesn't have an actual name, and it is an absolute shame because this is an incredible knife. It truly is something that goes toe to toe with things produced by Riyot, We Knife Co, and the big mess that Bestech is. Oh man, this thing has just absolutely blown my socks off and has really surprised me at every turn, from the unboxing experience to the internals to the sharpening to the hidden wave feature. Yeah, you can do that with this thing. I'm probably the only YouTuber at this point, the only knife tuber at this point that has highlighted this. You can unscrew the studs, lift them up, and there's a secondary position you can put them in to wave the damn thing out of your pocket, and it works flawlessly. Now, this thing is, we'll talk about price. There are 4 different variations of it. There's one that has like Damascus accents. That one's closer to like $250 something. So it's around there. That already is an incredible deal, and if I knew how wonderful this thing would have been or was, I probably would have gotten that one. But I think that one has a horizontal hand satin finish, and I think that's gross, so I didn't buy it. And I just got essentially the full stonewash or user variation because, well, on this channel we use our knives, we sharpen our knives, we throw them around respectively and enjoy them for what they are. Now let's do a brief little kind of like rerun of the unboxing. This one I didn't mention the price, but the user edition is more $238 all day. Yes please, this is worth every damn freaking penny. There are a few little downsides to this, and we will go over those in a sec. So this is the case that you get, and this is something you will not see on the Amazon listing, and that's where you can go ahead and buy this. I've actually added it to my Primo knives on my storefront, so if you want to go ahead and pick this up, just click on the link down in the description. It'll take you directly to that. If you purchase that, I will get something from it. It's not really worth anything, but it is a little bit to support the channel. I just want to make you aware of that if you decide to go that route. But you get this beautifully padded case, a handwritten card of authenticity, just naming some of the stats, when it was assembled or at least machined, the materials, the number, because these are numbered variations, and M390 blade material. The only thing that isn't on here that would have been really nice is a HRC reading, but I guess they don't do that. Nice little microfiber cloth, haven't even gotten into it. And then you do get a free titanium spring lanyard or a key ring, which is cool. You also get extra studs. These are barrel shaped studs. I don't really care for how they look on the knife, but functionally speaking, cool. That's great that they include that for people that may just not like those other studs. I was a little confused on this washer setup. I thought that they were giving 2 different materials of washers, but you're actually supposed to use these all stacked together. So you'll use a bronze and a copper together on either side. Proper lubrication is definitely needed, and the break-in time is going to be a while because washers, it's just a thing that you got to deal with washers. So what comes installed are multi-row Teflon cage ceramic bearings, and they are an absolute treat. You also get an extra set of robust Omega springs here. No, these are not extra strength. They are not any stronger than the ones installed. They're just an extra set, which I think is absolutely necessary for companies to remember when including or building the packaging for a knife that is running on Omega springs. This thing has definitely made me reconsider when it comes to being more open and trying new companies. Like, just because it looks good on paper doesn't always mean it's going to be great, but sometimes it's worth taking the risk. And this is an item that I took the risk on, and I'm very, very happy that I did. Let's do some size oh, you know what? We'll do size comparisons in a sec. Let's take the weight. This thing is a little hefty, but there is plenty of milling all over it. 5.5, 5.6 sounds about right for full titanium construction. The only steel components on here are obviously the blade, the pivot hardware, the crossbar lock, any standoffs. You do get a full tie geared and protruding backspacer, the clip, beautifully machined, contoured scales, and this really interesting brick pattern all over the scales. There is heavy machining on the inside, huge pockets, in fact, for as much weight relieving as possible, and a cartridge style cage for the actual access bar and the springs. If you hear any weird creaking and stuff, that's my garage door. It's a really windy day, so it sounds like the house is falling apart right now. But full TA construction on this. The only T6s on here are going to be the screw for the stud there, as well as the one hidden screw for the clip. So realistically, you're going to be dealing with damn near all T8 construction. Yes, please. That is awesome. Let's do some size comparisons. Now, we'll start with some big ones just because this is a pretty hand-feeling knife. We'll start off here. The Sencut Knives Glide Strike. Definitely a favorite here on the channel. Sebenza 31. Damn near the same size as the 31, which I'm very happy that it is because I love using this Sebenza here. It's a wonderful, wonderful knife. Let's do some Spyderco. This is Manix 2 right here. Pretty close, pretty close. Here we have CMB Main Knives Predator. Now, I thought this was going to be about the same size as a Predator. I am so happy that it wasn't. So there's that. And there's some smaller ones. Megaron Knives Vaker. And here we got a Pyrite Light. So obviously these two guys are tiny in comparison. And then I know I missed one. We have the Spyderco Native 5. Tiny in comparison. Okay, so that's it for size comparisons. Let's just start gushing about this thing. So, one of my favorite things is this beautiful blade shape. A lot of people, when I made my community post about this, I had taken screenshots from the listing on Amazon from Olaton's, I guess, storefront, and I said, hey, what do you guys think about this? And there were so many people that was like, oh, they're ripping off Kanwu knives and their Padre blade shape. I have unfortunately had to sell my compadre, but just to show as an example, the swedging, the design is completely different. The only thing that is similar is just that it has this clip here at the front and that it's a full bellied drop point blade shape. It's a very tall, wide blade shape. That's it. They're not knocking off, they're not ripping off anybody. It's not a fake, it's not a clone. They're not trying to directly compete. They have nothing to do with Kanwu knives. And I really hope Sergio or anybody that has to do anything with Kanwu knives gets offended by this because it has nothing to do with them. The studs here are very reminiscent of a Microtech model, the Amphibian, that is, they have the ram lock on it. Similar studs, they work, nothing wrong with that. I personally don't see any problem with them borrowing certain designs from other stuff, tweaking them a little bit, and making something that is clearly something very, very different here. The clip, I don't even know where to begin on it. Functionally speaking, it's great. I did have to bend it out a little bit, but now, unfortunately, it's a tapper. It's just what it is. I'm not the biggest fan of that because that's just something that's kind of annoying. It is also riding on the texturing, but have been carrying this thing for a couple weeks now, and The texturing doesn't really get in the way of anything now that I've bowed out the clip a little bit, but it still sits flush. It doesn't look stupid or anything. And just the overall time using this, sharpening it, well, laying back the edge. I think this is, what did I put on this thing? What is it, 18 degree? Yes, I put a 18 degree edge with my Wicked Edge sharpening system. And 18 degrees doesn't look too bad on this. Yeah, it doesn't look crazy. It doesn't look, you know, too big or too small. I think it looks rather appropriate. The edge from the factory was okay. It was good. I do have unnecessarily high standards just because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to sharpening stuff, and I want the absolute maximum performance I can get out of anything that comes across my table. And I put an edge on there that I think is respectable for the stock thickness, for how tall this blade is, the overall general shape, how this thing feels in hand. This is very, very comfortable. The ergonomic design on this is wonderful. From the contouring, from the very, very heavy sculpting of the scales, and the basically just knocking down any possible edge that could be slightly irritating to even the sensitive of hands. This thing's a treat to use. It really is. And the Omega Spring tension, if you guys are longtime viewers of the channel, you know that I'm a very, very peculiar individual about Omega Springs. Most of the time, they fail me. Most of the time, I don't like them because they're just way too floppy. If you are frequent viewers of other knife tubers and they are saying, oh, these are high tension Omega Springs when they're standard size tension Omega Springs, it is literally impossible to be higher tension Omega Springs when they're still using the same size as the industry standard. The gauge size that they're using in here is significantly better feeling and contributes to a much better feel in hand. Now, deployment method and at the end, the whole fit and finish of whatever design from whatever manufacturer does have a big part to play in how the knife will feel on deployment, and even after it breaks in, whether it's on bearings or on washers. You know, it takes a while for the stuff to break in. But the springs itself, this is just an A+ from me. I truly do enjoy this. These are real high tension Omega Springs. So I have an example here of a knife that I do love. This right here, it's a CJRB Prado. I've done some light modifications to it, but these use the same exact size and gauge Omega Springs as stuff from Benchmade or TRM or you know, Bestech and Riot, even WE. Actually, no, scratch that. I haven't tried anything from WE with a crossbar lock yet, so I can't quite say that yet. I want to be honest with you guys. But most of the time, they don't get the tension right. They have to position the hole further up or further down to create more tension, or the lobe that the bar essentially rides on. They have to shape it in a way to make it feel like you have to put more pressure against it to actually deploy the blade. So I love that Prado. It's a wonderful knife to use. It's great in hand, and I do enjoy fidgeting with it quite a bit. I've swapped bearings and washers in it, and it's both are wonderful. This right here is another example of real high tension Omega Springs. This is the CMB Knives Predator. I showed this off earlier on the size comparisons. If you guys have handled this knife or own one currently, you know exactly what I mean. These Omega Springs are significantly stronger than most of what's out there and what a lot of these other knife tubers are calling high tension Omega Springs. I'm not trying to call anybody out or make fun of anybody, but it's just something that I find a little odd that the word high tension Omega Spring gets thrown around so easily when they're clearly not high tension Omega Springs. This right here, the Vaker, it has Omega Springs, and It's made by Migron. I've been on record for essentially hating Migron's execution of Omega Spring locks. But with the studs, with how light the blade is, this thing just came out just good enough to stay in the collection. And because of the overall profile, how thin the blade is, and just all the other little things that I love about this knife, it's actually moved up into a size comparison spot. That is the highest form of compliment that can come from this channel, essentially. To keep something in the collection, to show it off on damn near every single, you know, review or unboxing video, or just as a general size comparison knife. So I really, really wish a lot of other people would stop throwing around the term high tension Omega Springs when they're obviously not. Because there have been many times where I have purchased high tension Omega Spring knives recommended by other knife tubers, and I get them and they're a sad floppy wiener mess. This is most definitely not that, and this makes me very, very happy, because if a knife looked this good, felt this good in hand ergonomics, cut this good, but it had just the same action that, you know, like Kunwu knives has with their Omega Springs, I would just throw it into a river. That would just make me so angry, because that was the same exact experience I had when handling a lot of Kunwu's Omega Spring knives, and even reaching out to the company and saying, hey, it would be pretty sweet if you guys included Omega Springs, or if you did, included a thicker gauge. And the response that I got back was, nah, they're good just the way that they are. So I was like, all right, well, there goes that, just trying to help. And I've heard from many people that the reason why they hate Omega Spring knives is because they're too flimsy, too thin, they do break, and I have broken many Omega Spring knives. Whether on US production or overseas production, it doesn't freaking matter. If you're using the same bullshit thin ass gauge Omega Springs, they will not last, especially if you're actually going to use a knife and you fidget with it often, and it's something that you love and you're gonna carry often and use. It's gonna suck the day that you're, you know, using and carrying and fidgeting with your favorite knife that just so happens to have Omega Springs in it, and then one of them just busts. It's so annoying. Now, it's really easy to replace them, yeah, sure. But, you know, even still right now, a lot of manufacturers do not include extra Omega Springs. So the fact that this company is coming out swinging real freaking hard with extra strength, real high tension Omega Springs, and including a separate pair, that's awesome. That is truly incredible. This is a company that I hope to see go very far. Someone I want to shout out, it's G-Ball Vision. I forget the guy's actual name. I think it's Greg. I think his name's Greg, potentially. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's probably wanting to see this, it doesn't matter. But he made a very interesting observation recently on one of his videos. I forgot what he was showing off, but he had mentioned how he was reviewing a different Olatons model, and he made a comment saying that he thinks that they're actually being produced by whoever Vosteed is getting their stuff done from, or if Vosteed is actually their own manufacturer, or whoever it is. It could even be Kaiser for all we freaking know, because he said Vosteed or Kaiser. Those are the two companies that he thinks would be capable of something like this. Now, I haven't had the privilege of checking out a lot of premium Vosteed stuff. I've mainly just stuck with the budget stuff because, well, stuff's expensive. And I'd rather pick something up like this, honestly, because this speaks a little bit more to me than some of the premium stuff that Vosteed's been coming out right now. And that is just up to preference, really. But if Vosteed is actually producing this, or whoever is making Vosteed stuff, like, this is some next level stuff here. The tooling, the quality, the fit and finish, the consistency, the plunge grind, the way the blade material is heat treated. It feels good. It's only M390. It's not really anything special. And honestly, M390 is overhyped in my opinion. There's nothing, you know, super steely about it, but it's good enough for EDC basic use. And you know, edge retention is good, corrosion resistance is great, toughness is all right, and that's just down to, you know, my opinion and my experiences so far with it. And at different hardnesses, I think they're hitting the industry standard, which is fine. That makes sense. Can't really do much about that. But that is it. I don't really think this needs to be much longer than what it is. This is a wonderful, wonderful freaking knife that is shaped beautifully, looks good, it's gonna cut good, feels great in hand, and you can wave it out. It has that little, you know, secret feature, I guess, to it that it's not even listed or featured on Olaton's website or on the Amazon listing. Like, come on, like this right here alone would sell this thing a lot more if they did that. But this is something that has actually been coming in and out of stock frequently. They'll post a couple and then they'll sell out, and then they'll be out of stock for like a week, and then they'll bring it back. They'll bring like 20 more units on, and I really do think they're building them as fast as they can. Maybe they weren't expecting it to sell as well as it did, I don't know, but I hope that they make more. I hope to see more stuff like this from them, absolutely. And I do have a affiliate link now with Olaton's. I reached out to them, and at the time it was actually very difficult to reach out to them because they didn't really have much of a, you know, media presence or social media presence. But I found them on YouTube and commented on one of their videos and said, hey, I bought this knife, I freaking love it, I want to rep you guys and show more stuff. Can we do something about this? And they said, yeah, go ahead. We updated our site. You can apply for affiliate link. You'll be approved. It's not complicated or anything. And then you know, you'll have a discount code as well. So it's JTT10, which is the same code that you get with practically all my other stuff. So it should be pretty easy to remember. But if not, if you forget or you want to save this video for later, or when you have the extra funds, and this is just something that's been sitting in your wish list, it's time. You should get something like this because it's an absolute treat. It really is, especially if you plan to use the thing. I mean, it's not only a good looking knife, but it's a great performing knife as well. The deployment, you know, just everything is just so awesome about it. And I'm not getting paid to say anything good about it. I didn't reach out to them until after I did my unboxing video and then the disassembly video, and I saw so many little things that they were doing here and highlighting that really just made me feel like there are still companies out there that give a shit. There are still companies out there that listen to the community and the people who, you know, cry and bitch about the little stuff. So, like me. So if you're like me and you care and you sweat the little stuff, then, you know, this is going to be right up your alley for sure. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it educational, or at least entertaining. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your patience, of course. And if you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing because I play more videos and content coming your guys' way. And with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.